Hello everyone and welcome. You guys know that I try to do my own vehicle diagnosis whenever I have a problem. Now to be able to do this, you need to have the right tools. For electrical problems, most people use a test light. Unfortunately, most test lights have limitations, so many people will use a multimeter instead. But most multimeters are big and bulky and hard to get into tight areas in your vehicle. That is why the power probe was invented. But the power probes are not cheap. Most power probes are over $100. I've always wanted a power probe but didn't want to pay the high price. So when I came across this power probe from Kzyee for under $100, I decided to try it out and share my experience with my viewers. So if you've been looking for an affordable power probe, stick around as I unbox and test this puppy. Alright guys, so when you unbox this puppy, this is everything you get. So let's talk a little bit about some of the features that this guy has. But before we get started testing this guy, do me a big favor and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. That way you get notified every time I do another product review video, DIY project, or a sale at a big box store where I can help you save even more money. Alright then, so this is the Kzyee KM05 Super Power Probe, available on Amazon, link in description below. At the time of making this video, this little guy retails for $79.99, but they also have a 20% discount coupon on the Amazon page, bringing it down to around $65, and the warranty on this guy is 1 year. The dimensions on this guy are 8 inches by 2 inches by 1 inch in thickness, and the cable is 13 feet long. So what do you get when you unbox this guy? Well, you get the power probe itself, you get the tip to put on the end of the power probe, and you get the owner's manual that tells you everything about this guy, how to use it, and so forth, how to do a lot of testing. I actually went through it already, and it has quite a lot of good examples in it, in case you don't know how to use this guy. This little guy has a 1.8-inch TFT screen with a resolution of 160 by 128 dpi. This little guy also has convenient work lights at the end of it to help you see better in the dark areas that you're working on in your vehicle. Great for working under the dash and other areas that are pretty dark and there's no light into there. The operating temperature of this unit is from -4 degrees Fahrenheit to 122 degrees Fahrenheit, or that would be -20 degrees Celsius to 50 degrees Celsius. Now this is a 12 volt or 24 volt circuit tester and diagnosing device. This guy works great as a combination test light and multimeter. This unit has 4 test modes for AC and DC voltage, diode testing, plus continuity and resistance. Aside from that, this little guy can supply 12 volt positive current or ground for testing purposes. Neither a test light nor a multimeter can do that. That is what makes a power probe a superior tool in situations like this when you need either power or ground to complete your testing. This unit can test DC voltage from 0 to 60 volts and AC voltage from 0 to 60 volts. It can also test diodes from 0 to 3 volts. This unit also has a built-in circuit breaker to protect the unit from damage. So unlike multimeters that have fuses that you need to replace if they break, this guy has a circuit breaker that simply resets itself and you don't have to worry about having the hassle of buying a new fuse when you burn it out. So this little guy has a compact test light and multimeter built into one. It has the ability to help you test for blown fuses, broken wires, continuity, resistance, voltage, plus also test components by adding voltage or ground as needed. Aside from that, this little guy's voltage does not exceed 1 milliamp unless you press the power button, so it's computer and airbag safe. So let's take a little closer look at this guy and then hook it up and do some testing. Alright guys, so here we are under the hood of my vehicle and we have the power probe hooked up. As you can see the connections back there. And you can see the lights that are on the front of it. They actually help to light up pretty good. I turned off the lights here so we don't have any reflection, and you can see a little bit better what we're doing. And the flashlight or the work lights on them actually work out pretty good. And you can see the connectors are pretty good. You see the wire right there. It's a pretty thick wire. It's pretty good quality for 12 volts. That's a decent wire right there. It's not your skinny little wire that you're afraid that it's going to melt or something. No, good quality wires for both the positive and the negative. Now, basically, get a little bit better acquainted with this power probe. The mode button is this guy down here. You can switch between the modes. Like right there, you have DC voltage. You go to AC voltage, and you get frequency and all that kind of stuff, max, min, all that kind of stuff. You have resistance, and then you can go to diode testing and see how that goes. So back to DC voltage, and that's with this button here. Now, one thing also with this guy, at the tip up there, you can supply, with using this button, you can supply either ground or power. If you press down, you see right there that it shows green and you see the negative sign. So at the tip, you're supplying a ground. Now you press this guy up and you're supplying 12 volt DC voltage at the tip. So that lights up orange, telling you, you see the positive there, you're giving it current. Now this guy, for testing purposes, and I'll show you better in a moment, but it does have another lead down here. So you can use this lead to give ground, and you can use the tip to give power. That way you have both ground and power in one unit, and you can use it for testing purposes. So we're going to go through and do some testing in a moment, but let me show you right here, since we're right next to the battery, how this guy works perfectly like a test light, where you see right there, you put it on the negative and it tells you that you have 0 voltage, but you have a ground. It lights up green, showing you that you have a ground. Now we go over here to the positive, and if I put it on this guy, you see it goes to, let me get a better, there we go. You see it shows you 12 volts and it lights up orange. Now the color may be changing due to the camera. Oop, I keep slipping on that. The color may change due to the camera, but it is showing orange, showing that you have power, and you see the positive lit up, and you have 12 volt voltage right there. So that's how convenient this guy is as far as a test light and multimeter all in one, because the voltage will drop or show you whatever the voltage is, where a test light won't do that. So this guy does both, like a test light and a multimeter. Now let's do some testing showing you how this guy can help you as far as power and all this kind of stuff. All right, guys, so now let's basically do some testing and show how this power probe can be helpful if you're trying to test basically a broken component, something that isn't working right, testing trailer lights, light switches, anything throughout your vehicle, anything that is not computer controlled. I mean, even things that are computer controlled, you can kind of bypass the computer and activate it yourself. That's a little bit more complicated. I'm trying to keep it simple so everyone can understand this. So I set up this test light. And this is a simple little light, which basically has like a positive and negative to it. And you can switch them around either way. Right now, I have it grounded to the vehicle right there with that little connector. And I just have it hooked up right here so it'll stay steady. So I don't need 3 hands to do this. So taking the power probe, let's say this was a trailer light or a headlight or a blinker light or something in your vehicle that wasn't working properly. So if this guy's not working properly and you're trying to figure out what the problem is, you can always go up to here. This is the connector of the test light right here. Like I said, it's just situated there. I have it held under by this hose right here. The hose is holding it in place for me. So that way I don't need 3 hands because I'm holding the camera. So if you're going to test this light and you want to give it basically some power, all you do is press the up button. So you're giving it 12 volt voltage. And then you find out, is the light good or bad? Well, you see when I test it, it goes on. So you see it goes on, meaning that whatever is preventing it from going on is not the light itself. I just eliminated whatever component there was. If there was a switch in the way here or a broken wire preventing power from getting here, by giving power directly to the light itself, I know that the light itself is good, and either a switch or a broken wire leading up to this point is what the problem is. So you bypassed everything else and you gave this guy power using the power probe. 12 volt DC power turns that guy on. So that's a simple way to do testing for pretty much any component in your vehicle. And you can use that to turn on things like I said, headlights, blinkers, wipers, motors, motors for the AC, any of that kind of stuff. Pretty much anything in your vehicle, you can use the same basic thing that I did here, positive and negative. And if I had this guy hooked up to the battery, then all I do is give this guy ground and it would turn on the same way. So let me show you that just so that you know it works both ways. Okay, same test light, and I ran the cable back there to the power on the battery, the 12 volt positive DC side. And on this case, what we'll do is we'll give this guy ground, the green right there. And you see it's not on yet, right? When I give it ground, you see it turns on. So with this power probe, you can use either positive or negative. Either way, it makes it very convenient to test any kind of component. You can figure out what the issue is. Does it need to be grounded or does it need positive power? What is the issue? What does it need? And you can turn it on and off and do whatever it is that you need. So that's very convenient right there. All right, guys. So what if you wanted to check for continuity, resistance, etc.? So basically, you see that I switched over right there to the continuity, and you see it's OL right now, because what I did was I have a little alligator clip holding one side of this temporary switch that I just rigged together right now One side at the tip here, the other side at the extra little clip that comes with it, the extra ground or whatever you want to call it. So this is going right to the power probe right there. So both of these connections are going to the power probe. So you see right there, it's OL, right? This is a switch right here. So all I got to do is click it on and off, and you'll see that this will change. So you see right there, you have broken wire, no continuity. I click the switch, all of a sudden you have resistance. So basically it's telling you that this connection is good or this connection is bad. You have a faulty connection that goes on and off by itself, or what do you have going on? Or you can use it to get different readings from different things, but I just rigged this to show you what's going on right now. But in the vehicle, you can test different switches and so forth and see how they perform in this same manner by touching two different parts of it, and that way you know what's going on through the circuit. I'm just doing it right here with this guy, but this guy will work for anything in your vehicle without any trouble at all. So that shows you right there how easy it is to do that. So what if you wanted to do some diode testing? Well, here we go. I have it set up to the diode test. And you see right there, I have a diode right there inserted, touching. I put an alligator clip right there, but it's touching the tip on the positive side and the ground over here on the negative side. Now the power goes in that direction, that direction. If you try to go that way, it just won't work. And that's the whole point. You see the power right there, it's showing you, it's giving you 0.44 volts. Now, if I ground this guy, try to give a power going the opposite direction, it won't do anything, 0 volts. So that tells you which way that is going. Now, this little guy takes more than 3 volts. If I try to put more than that through here, it'll cause this guy to reset. And I'll show you that right now, where you see right there, it was a little too much, so it resets itself. So that's how that guy works right there. No problem at all. It just turns on and off, and it goes back to what it was doing. And then you have to go back to the diode mode, and you're good to go. So it has good protection in it. It basically doesn't allow itself to blow up. So that's a good feature right there. So for testing diode, you see that little guy right there, no problem at all. It works for that as well. Now, doing the same test again, I just turned that little diode around in the opposite direction. And for those of you that may not know, diodes only allow power to go in one direction. So now I turned it around the other direction, and the power will not go back down this way because I turned it around. So you see this way, so if I try to give it power, it does nothing. It's OL. There's no power going through it. The power from going from the tip this way will not flow because the diode does not allow it. Power can only go in that direction. So if I hit the ground, then it shows you 0 volts because we're not putting any power through it. We're putting ground. So it shows you which direction the diode is allowing power to flow. And that's how convenient this guy works. You don't need a multimeter. This guy tells you everything you need to know right there. So for diodes in your vehicle, very convenient again. And another good thing for using your power probe is you can use it in the place of a test light when you're testing different things. Like, for example, in your fuse box right here. And a very convenient thing is these lights. You see how it lights it up for you very nicely so you can see everything that's going on in this dark black ABS fuse box. So you can go through, and if you have like a bad fuse or something, you can isolate it with the power probe. There you go. That one right there is good, and this side is good. And then this side over here is good, and that side is good. So it tells you what fuses are good. And this circuit here has power, and that side does not. And if you don't know what's going on, some of these empty control areas, you don't know what they are, it's good to find out first before you start poking around and putting power to them. Like some of these, one of these I believe is grounded. Let me see. This one there you go. That one is grounded. If I didn't have a power probe, I wouldn't know because the test light wouldn't tell me that. So for testing the different circuits and stuff on here, the different higher fuse panels, the relays, all that kind of stuff, the power probe is very useful. So for all sorts of stuff in your fuse box or control panel, whatever you may want to test, you can find out a lot of stuff using this power probe. Now, one thing I'm going to do also is I'm going to pull out one of these relays, which is the relay. I'll have to figure out which one it is, the relay for the headlights. And another thing you can do with the power probe is test to see if you have a bad relay or a good relay or the circuit is bad or what the case may be. So I'm going to take out the relay and I'm going to actually turn on the lights, the headlights by themselves without the relay using the power probe to supply power. That's one way that you can test a circuit to see if it's good or bad or to see if you have a good or bad relay. So let me do that right now. I'm going to move the camera and I'm going to set that up. All right, guys, so now you can see that I took out the relay for the headlights, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to power the headlights myself using the power probe, and you're going to be able to see them go on and off based on what I do over here. So here we go. I'm going to give it power. And now I'm going to turn it off. And we're going to give it power again. And now I'm going to turn it off. And there you go. It's as easy as that. If you need to test a relay or a circuit in your vehicle, you can use the power probe, and that way you can give it power directly, and you can bypass a faulty relay or a faulty circuit or whatever, and then you know what's going on inside there. So there you go. All right, guys, there you have it, a review and demonstration of a very affordable and versatile power probe. I think this guy did a great job. All the features and conveniences of the power probe, but at a fraction of the price. This guy can help you test multiple things in your vehicle without the clumsiness of having to use a separate test light and multimeter. Get everything conveniently at your fingertips in one small package. If you wanted to have a power probe like I did, but didn't want to spend over $100 to do it, now you can get an affordable alternative. Check out the links below for all the details. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye for now.